Hello, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm your host, Jacqueline Twilley, and I'm so very excited to bring to you the Know Your Value, Earn What You're Worth course hosted by Zero Gap. And the hashtag for this series is Power Banking. Today, we're talking about how to tap into the core of what is your value. A lot of times when we talk about value in the workplace, we don't really put too much of a definition behind it. So we're going to dive deep into that. At the end of this webinar, you will have a few exercises that you can take with you as your homework before our next webinar. So again, my name is Jacqueline Twilley. I am a best-selling author. I'm also an equal pay advocate. It is my mission in life to eliminate the gender wage gap. So in eliminating the gender wage gap, part of the way that I do that is by teaching women how to own their power, to know their value so that they can earn what they're worth. So feel free to connect with me on social media, check out the website, and check out our sponsor for today, ZeroGap.co, the training and development company for women who work in male-dominated industries. So let's hop right into it today. So excited to share with you the Know Your Value Toolkit. So when you talk about value, of course, there's a monetary value associated with the skills that you bring to the workplace. So one of those things is understanding what you really do well to know which skills to talk up when you're going into a job interview or you're talking to a client, all right? So first things first, what do you do well? So really take some time over the next week or so, have a notebook or an app on your phone and just jot down the things that you know when you do them, you can knock it out of the park. This is a time where we want to focus on the things that you do that add value to a client, to your employer, or to the business that you own if you are a freelancer. What is that thing that you really, really do well? All right, the next thing is focus on your strengths. Okay, there's a lot of areas in life where we can improve. I think when it comes to talking about our weaknesses, we can rattle those off so quickly and confidently. However, we have to flip the script on that and we have to focus on our strengths, especially when it comes to being able to negotiate. You have to be able to very confidently speak to the things that you do well. And so if you don't believe you do something well, or if you're not confident in saying it, then what's going to happen is no one's going to believe that you're worth it and you're not going to get your true value. Okay, so by focusing on your strengths, you're going back to what do I do well, but then you're tapping into what's the complementary skills that go to that. All right, so now's a good time for an example. Number one, what do I do well personally? Jacqueline Twilley, I am a great trainer. I know that I train really well. So in terms of one of my strengths is I do lots of research. I actually enjoy reading, listening to podcasts, attending conferences, watching webinars. That is a strength. So my strength complements what I really do well. Because I train really well, that's backed up by my strength and my love of learning. So those two go hand in hand. Now, if I was talking to a client who wanted me to speak at a conference, I would show them my speaker reel, my speaker portfolio, the things that I've really done well. And then as a backup conversation to that, I will tell them my backstory, some of the clients that I've worked with, which is also a strength because it gives me credibility. But the other part of that is the confidence that comes through my voice. All right. So think about that. Number one, what do you do well? And number two, focus on your strengths, which rolls us into number three. This may be hard for people to focus on what they do well and their strengths. So think about what comes naturally to you. So we're going to go right ahead to number four, accept praise. And the reason why we skipped ahead to accept praise is because 3 and 4 go together. They're like red beans and rice, okay? I'm from Slidell, Louisiana, so I love me some Cajun food, and red beans and rice is just a colloquialism that I use. So pay attention to what comes naturally to you, number 3, all right? And then number 4 as well, accept praise. What I mean by that, and I had to pause because this is a big one. I want you to take out your notebook. If you don't have notes out, pull out your phone. Think about the last time you received a compliment at work or for work that you've done. How did you respond to that? Now, for many of the women that I've coached, and I've coached hundreds of women all across the US, our natural tendency is to say, oh, you don't have to thank me for that. Or we will often say something like, oh, that was easy. I can do that in my sleep. No big deal. You have to stop doing that. Those things that come naturally to you, they're not natural for someone else. And I think because sometimes those are our natural talents and gifts, we just assume that anyone can do it. But have you ever had to explain to someone how to do something that you do well and you got frustrated with them because they just weren't catching on? That's an indication that it's not easy for everyone. So when you focus on those things that come naturally to you, you also want to think about the times where you're getting complimented. So again, over the next 5 days, I want you to pull out a notebook or an app on your phone and start tracking down when people say thank you. And instead of saying, no big deal, I can do that in my sleep, start using different phrases. Start saying things like, thank you for recognizing that. I pride myself on doing this well. I appreciate that. I really enjoy doing this work. So what happens is when you switch that language, what you're doing is you're owning your value. That negative language that we used before when we said, no big deal, I can do that in my sleep, that was so easy, that's language that devalues the contributions that you bring to your client, to your employee, and to yourself, to your company. So it's not going to be easy. The first step is going to be just jot those things down over the next week and do nothing with it, okay? I'm giving you a lot of information today, so I just want you to become aware. That's the first step to knowing your value, is being aware of the value that you add and the things that you do naturally, the things that you do well, all right? And so over time, begin to catch yourself when you say no big deal and replace that with thank you. And you can just start with thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you recognizing that. That's how you ease on into accepting those compliments and owning your value. All right. So just to recap here, we've talked about what do you do well, focusing on your strengths, paying attention to what comes naturally to you, and then lastly, accept praise. This is hard for a lot of people to do. Again, over the next 5 days, all I want you to do is write it down. So that's it for today, y'all, about knowing your value, earning your worth. We're going to talk about market value next time and understanding how to price yourself, whether it's a salary, your salary expectations, or your rates as a freelancer. But again, it all starts with knowing your value. That's how you own your power. I do want to thank our sponsor for today, Zero Gap. I am the founder of Zero Gap. I'm really excited to be working with a team of people who are committed to training women who work in male-dominated industries, which, to be honest, is almost every industry. But together, we are helping women to become more effective leaders and to navigate the challenges that come with being a woman in a leadership position in a male-dominated industry or company. Hey, you can connect with me on Twitter. My handle is JB Twilly, and the hashtag for this series is Power Banking. I'm looking forward to connecting with you. I'll see you on our next webinar. Each of our webinars are short and sweet. We get right to the point. In this email, you can download 2 worksheets. One, you'll have the slides for today, but then you'll have the Know Your Value worksheet where you can go in, make copies of it, and over the next week, jot down those things that you do well, okay? I also want you to take note of your strengths. Focus on your strengths, y'all. What comes naturally to you, and then accept some praise. And lean into it. Accept that praise, even if it makes you uncomfortable, because guess what? If you are not confident about what you do, no one is going to think that you're worth the value that you add to the organization. Until next time, keep emulating excellence, eliminating excuses, because that's how you own your worth.